Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. Hey, my beautiful people, welcome to the Season of Self-Love, your daily dose of inspiration and growth. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are continuing our powerful week of elevation. Yesterday, we had an incredible conversation with Kevin Palomari about transformation and potential. And one thing that really stood out was how our environment shapes our growth. Well, today we are diving deep into creating what I call your environment excellence. But first, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into this conversation, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back. What are some common barriers that prevent people from expressing? Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, here from the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Yeah, I would say remorse. So shame and guilt is a very dividing emotional.
And these are one of the many amazing conversations that we have every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast with myself, Nyomi Banks, as well as our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington of Washington Wellness Institute. Come by.
The reality of our relationships with people.
Come by.
And a lot of times we're afraid of how people look at us. And so that compassion can't enter.
You can hit us on the website, the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Let me ask you this, with the truth, is it...
Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to asknyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are diving deep into creating what I call your environment excellence. But before we get into, let's center ourselves with our daily meditation, all right? All right, I want you to take a comfortable position wherever you are. And close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Breathe deeply into your space. Feel the air filling your lungs. Now with each breath, become aware of your surroundings. The space you occupy. The energy around you. Now I want you to notice without judgment how your environment makes you feel. Are you contracted or are you expanding? Are you tense or are you relaxed? Just simply observe. Now I want you to take one final deep breath in. And when you are ready, I want you to gently open your eyes and carry this awareness with you as we begin. Now, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday.
here on the Season of Self Love podcast. All right, my beautiful people. So, yesterday conversation with Kevin really got me thinking about something profound. We often focus so much on changing ourselves, right? But how often do we look at changing the space around us, the people, the places, the energy we surround ourselves with, right? See, I remember when I first started my elevation journey. I was trying to grow while staying in spaces that kept me small. It was like trying to plant a garden in soil that won't support growth. It was like, like this past summer, I was trying to grow a beautiful garden in a desert. In the middle of a desert, I was trying to build a beautiful garden, which started off great. But all of a sudden, it was just burning in the middle of it. But today we're going to talk about how to create and fertile the soil of your elevation. So first, let's talk about understanding your current environment. Let's start with the powerful exercise that I call energy audit. Energy audit. So I want to take a moment to think about the last 3 places you spent the most time in. Your home, your workplace, and maybe a friend's house. Now, how do these spaces make you feel? Do they leave you feeling energized or drained? All right, I'm going to repeat that. All right, I want you to think of the last 3 places you spent the most time in. And these are just examples. Your home, your workplace, or maybe a friend's house. And how do these spaces make you feel? Do they leave you feeling energized or drained? Now, you see, elevation isn't just about what we do. It's about where we do it and who we do it with. Yeah. So let me share a story with you, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back at the time when I lived in Valencia, California. And I had a beautiful home. And I remember allowing my home to be open to everyone, meaning that so let me say this. My grandmother, both of my beautiful grandmothers' homes were a space and a place that they will allow people to come in with their problems and their troubles, and they will help people. My grandmothers, both of them, would take people in, allow them to stay with them. One of my grandmothers actually raised other people's children, as well as my both of my grandmothers has. But as I always say, they had a revolving door in their home. And so I thought that was so empowering. I thought that was so beautiful to have a big heart like that. And I know that that is a part of my heart. And so I said that was going to be me, because guess what? I was a part of going as a revolving door in my grandmother's home. And so I figured once I had my place that I was going to do the same thing. But what I didn't understand is that when I did that, I was allowing unwanted energy into my space. I didn't know that when people were coming in, they were bringing energy that were being dropped off into my space in my home, and I did not realize that, and I did not understand. So in the process, I was building energy that was no longer wanted by me, but also my home did not recognize my energy, and so was no longer aligned. It was times that I used to come home from set or whatever, that I would sit in my car and like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. It didn't have to do nothing with my family inside. It was just the energy that was in my home. And the crazy thing is, I did not even know what it was. I didn't realize what it was until probably about maybe 10 years ago, maybe. And I really think it's when I really started going on my spiritual journey that I truly understood what that was. I didn't understand. I thought that I was helping people, not understanding that there's still things that I needed to do for my home. Even though when people came to my home and they were, telling me their stories, I was able to help them out. They were dumping their situations and issues there, and they walked off and they were free. But they were leaving it there for me and my family. And I didn't know it. But I wanted to share that with you because we have to be very cautious on our environment and who we allow in our spaces. You understand what I'm saying? And that's something that throughout my spiritual journey and me learning more about me healing and growing, this is something that, man, like I am more aware of now more than anything. More than anything. All right, so let's talk about something real, your relationship circle. And I'm going to go back to what I just spoke about before. And Kevin mentioned yesterday on how relationships are often based on a convenience rather than growth. And that hit home for me. So remember when I talked about allowing my house to be a revolving door that opens and allowing people to come into my space and be able to sit with them and talk with them and counsel. I was just counseling. I was just talking, being that good friend, being that big cuz, being that big, just doing all of that, allowing them to bring that energy in and dump, put it there. But then that wasn't allowing me to grow. Also, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the 5 closest relationship right now. And I want you to ask yourself, do these relationships challenge me to grow? Do they celebrate your wins? Do they hold space for my evolution? There was something that happened to me, and I believe it's in 2018, that changed my entire life. This is when I lost my home. This is when I started to see the people around me. This is when I started to see and had to evaluate the closest relationships that I had. And that showed me, that's when I had to break it down and ask myself, with these relationships, do they challenge me to grow? Which one do and which one don't? In this process, do they celebrate my wins? And I had to look at them too. Do they hold space for my evolution? Or am I the one that's doing that for them? And I found myself, I was the one that was doing that for them. But they couldn't do it for me. And I didn't see it. But in 2018, it allowed me to see it. So even though my house was taken from me, everything felt like it was falling apart, but it wasn't. I was having to be removed out of that space and moved into another space to remove me from those. Does that make sense? Because once I moved over to this new space, those that were no longer aligned with me, they didn't come over here with me. And those that did and still wasn't aligned, they were exposed quickly and were removed quickly. And I started to pay attention. And it's so funny because how we just live our lives and just go on and we don't even understand. You know, when we talk about changing our paradigm, we always talk about ourselves. But I had this conversation with this beautiful young lady just the other day. And we talked about the change in our paradigm, but it's also about the paradigm around us, the energy around us as well. So it's just not us, but it's also the people around us too that we have to change. So when we talk about elevation and elevating ourselves, we definitely have to think about the people around us. Are they ready for that elevation? Are they ready for that elevated part of you? Or are they going to be the ones to keep holding you down? I know many times I talk about we outlive seasons, and we do. I am guilty of it. I am so guilty of it, and I am truly working on that. To not outlive my season with anyone, because I definitely do not want to hold anyone down, and I don't want nobody to hold me down, because I want to see everybody elevate to their most greatest of who they are. And also remember, this isn't about judgment. I want you to remember that this is not about judgment. It's about awareness. And sometimes the people who we've been the longest aren't the ones who can take us where we're going. That is probably the hardest thing that I will ever say, and I'm going to say this again. Sometimes the people who have been with us the longest aren't the ones who can take with us where we're going. When I've said that, I've had friendships that was over 20 years that are no longer aligned with me. There are moments that I've had that I've cried because I understand that we've outlived our seasons with each other. It felt like a divorce. When those conversations are no longer the same. When you've outgrown those conversations. When they can respect your growth. Or better yet, you can't respect their growth. When you can't see them anew. When you always have to go back to the old version of them. Or they have to always go and remind you of the old version of you. Then you know. No. This is a time that you have to connect with genuine, authentic people. Genuine, authentic people. All right, let's talk about creating an elevation environment. All right, so let's talk about, let's get practical. So here's 3 steps that to create your environment of excellence. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it the environment of excellence. All right. Number 1, physical space cleanup. Let me tell y'all, I've been saying that I've been doing some cleaning inside out. I've been doing inside out cleaning, and that I have. This inside out cleaning, what I thought, and I told y'all, I believe it was last week, that I thought it was going to take me, about a few days or a week. And I am still doing it. I literally woke up this morning and I said, I still got too much stuff. I am still holding on to too much stuff. I'm still holding on to too much stuff. Because when I sleep, I see visually, I see everything. When I wake up, there's a blockage still there. So I have to clear my physical space. Physical cleanup. Clear your physical space for anything that doesn't align with your vision. Old clothing, old shoes, old wigs. Yes, I said wigs. Old anything. And create a designated area for growth and reflection. So for me, I know that I work within my home. I am a caregiver as well. And so I want vision throughout my whole entire home to be in line of who I am and what I am to be. And so that means that's a whole overall in my home. But guess what? I do mine on a budget. So I have now pulled up the carpet in my hallway, pulled up the carpet in my bedroom, redoing the cabinetry in my kitchen, redoing the floors throughout the home, redoing my bedroom. I'm doing a whole overall because I know what it is that I want to look at when I wake up in the morning. I know I want to simplify it so much more and open it up for a vision that I see when I'm sleeping. When I wake up, I want it to be my reality, if that makes sense. And you add the elements that inspire and energize you. So when I open up my eyes, I want to see those things around me because it motivates me even more. It makes you work even harder. Or let's not say harder. Let's say it makes you work more. The next one is digital detox and reset. To audit your social media feeds, create boundaries around technology use, and fill your digital space with content that elevates. That's something that I thought about a lot about is unfollowing a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of things. This is something that I've thought about for years, and that's something that I'm going to do over the next few weeks. Yeah. The next one is the relationship restructure. This is one. You have to have honest conversation about your growth journey. And this is probably one of the hardest conversations that you are going to have with yourself. And you have to start setting healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. And seek out growth-minded connections. You know, over the past couple of weeks, just going through this, I myself have been setting healthy boundaries with loved ones that I love. Oh my God, I love them so much. And I want them to do so well. And I see so much potential in them. I see them doing so many great things. But I also see them sabotaging themselves. And in the process of them sabotaging themselves, they can be very detrimental to them and you, and me. Because when people are not, and I'm going to say this, and y'all going to say, really, Naomi? When people are truly not aware of themselves, they would throw off on you. They would throw off on you. They would throw off on their bad habits on you. They would throw off their lackness of themselves on you. They would start questioning who you are. They would start putting their doubt of themselves on you and others. And it's like, that's not what I want. That's not the company that I want to keep. And so even though you might see them as being, oh my God, they can be the greatest person possible. But in this moment, you have to choose you first. Maybe in this moment, in this season, maybe this is not the season for them. For you to be with them in this season. I had said this a while ago. Usually what I do is I say a prayer. before I am about to remove myself from a friendship or a relationship, I say a prayer and I ask God to remove me and them from this relationship in peace. And that I ask that they cover them and protect them as they go on in life, being the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. And that if any moment that they are to come back into my life, that they are to come back when we are aligned. And when it is God willing. And why I do that is because I am not only protecting them, but I'm protecting myself. That is because if I'm leaving you, it's out of love. I don't want to hurt either one of us. I don't want to hurt our growth. I don't want to be that friend that continues to subscribe to the madness. No. I have a family. I have an assignment. And just because you don't want to abide by your assignment, that doesn't mean I don't. Does that make sense, y'all? Nope, I'm not preaching today. I promise y'all I'm not. I promise y'all I'm not. All right, my beautiful people. So before we close today, I want to give you a powerful homework assignment, all right? I know, look, Dr. Will don't give homework assignments, but I do, all right? So I want you to choose one area of your environment, whether it's physical, digital, or relationship, and make one significant change this week. Just one. And I want you to remember what Kevin had said yesterday. Progress is invisible day to day, but impossible to miss year to year. Tomorrow we'll talk about turning this awareness into consistent action. But for now, focus on creating that space for growth, all right? All right, my beautiful people, again, thank you for sharing this space with me today. And remember, you deserve an environment that supports your elevation. This is your girl, the goddess Nyomi Banks here, and you're listening to the Season of Self-Love podcast. All right, in tomorrow's episode, we are diving into how to take consistent actions toward your elevation. And we'll be talking about some more practical strategies for it, all right? All right, have an amazing, amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.